quarters, you know, six months to a year. And if we can't figure it out then, I don't know if we're supposed to be Fiverr Pros, you know, because with that amount of time, you know, what I'm trying to say is with that amount of time, you're giving a lot of data, and you know, if you're spending adequate budget, you should be able to conclude something. Like you said, it could be the particular offering. Are you competitive? How does that look on your website? Because a lot of the times we could spend so much on budget and send so much traffic, but if it's just the website that, like, you know, it's not going to convert, or you're not communicating the things you should be, or you're not priced competitively, it's just not, you know, it's not going to be a good coupling between Google Ads and purchases or whatever you deem as a conversion. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of clients that I've seen that's like, okay, well, man, this is just another drop ship, you know, client. And not to bash any drop ship clients, we love y'all as much as any other client. You know, it's just sometimes we could be honest here, sometimes there is a stigma of just the drop ship clients maybe just being after one thing, and that could just be sales, or not really being attached to it on the branding end of things. But sometimes it just works. You know, I had a particular client that we don't want to get too specific, but I had them on board for December, and they sell print on demand. And I was like, this is just, I've seen this niche, this website so many different times, and I'm looking at the insights, and it's going to be too saturated. But one thing that I always try to remember, saturation doesn't always mean that it's not going to be successful. There's a reason for that saturation. There's a reason why there's so much supply in the market like that is saturated. Could be because the demand reflects that, right? And you know, sometimes I'm wrong. But yeah, well, I think we're definitely getting into our experiences.
Let's bring it back round.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had one, you know, last point under patience. You know, this is a three-point ideas of time, money, patience. That's the way that we're going to be successful on Google Ads, understanding that not only as a PPC manager, but also as somebody that, you know, it might be a business owner or client. They have to understand that too. And sometimes that's easier said than done, because we are so eager to onboard a client that, you know, sometimes I've caught myself, I know you have too, Ryan, where you kind of promise things, and you don't mean to promise, but we're, you know, Google Ads believers here, so we understand how it works. And sometimes we can't, you know, cover all clients with a blanket to say that it'll work in this specific time frame. But I've had one client in the past where I've mentioned, hey, patience is really important here. You're going to need to really buckle down for at least 3 months to see any traffic or conversions at least. And you know, at first they were like, oh yeah, all for it. But then once that spend goes up and that conversion stays at 0, or that return on ad spend decreases, I think a lot of people waver and forget that it is still about time and patience. And they started messaging me a lot saying, hey, what's going on? How come there's all this spend and all this traffic but no conversion? And you know, being the professional Fiverr Pro that I am, I told them, hey, you know, it's okay, I got this, don't worry. But they just kept on persisting and messaging me, and you know, I had to kind of be stern with them. I was like, hey, it's either you let me do this job, or we can cancel your gig and we could be on our way. And I don't like doing that to clients, but sometimes if they don't understand the process, that's kind of like the only way to do it. And usually, you know, I could see that through the screening process, but like I mentioned before, the screening process went well. And so they finally just radio silence. I don't know if I offended them. I don't know if I really hurt their feelings or they didn't trust me, but for about 2 weeks, they did not say anything. And we came back, and within 14 days, they did more sales in 14 days than they did in any month in the 2 years of their existence as an e-commerce store on Shopify. So, and if you guys want to look at, it is crazy. And I love this is like one of my anecdotes, as a Google Ads person. It's on my Instagram. If you want to look on genevillanos.com, you could look at the statistics. There's under credibility as a highlight. You can check them out. But yeah, those things happen. What about you, Ryan? Did you ever come across something like that with a client?
All the time. And we do get so caught up in those initial calls. You get excited that, the brand seems really on point, the products, this is a niche that we have experience in, whatever it could be. But you have to remember that, every business is different. Just because they're in the same niche doesn't mean they're going to get the same results. I truly believe you could have two identical search campaigns or shopping campaigns in two different accounts for two different businesses, and they'll both get different results. And they could be set up the exact same, they could be selling the same products, everything like that. But I think you'll get two different results. And this is the thing, is that, yeah, clients get impatient. It's one thing to say, okay, well, we're going to trial this for 3 months, and trust me, I know what I'm doing. Obviously we're Google Ads like account managers, we're certified, we're Fiverr Pros, we've done this many times, trust us. But I can appreciate from a business owner's standpoint, we're not the ones putting our hands in the pockets, and it can be quite difficult. But at the same time, what I would say to that is spend what you're comfortable with. Don't spend something where you kind of, I have to spend this to see results, or I'm going to go bankrupt. Don't do anything like that. Spend what you feel comfortable with. And what I say to people, kind of bringing it back around to patience, though, what I say to clients is that, I turn on a campaign, and I will say, just go about your business, right? Just forget that this exists. Just carry on doing what if you're, a tree surgeon, just carry on doing your day job. Just focus on that. You've got clients to go see, and, jobs to visit and things like that. Just focus on that. Just go about your business like a normal day. And at least for the first month, right, or 14 days to 30 days, at which point then we can have a check-in, and we can review the data then and see where we are. And that's when I'll usually go in and start making big account changes. But for the most part, I try and manage their expectations and their patience as much as I can. And it's really about people pleasing at that point. And it's not so much about being a Google Ads account manager.
Yeah.
That's just kind of being more of, like I say, a people pleaser, and just being a people person. So I think that's something that's underrated in what we do, to be honest.
No, yeah, it's super underrated, because I can be the best Google Ads manager, but if I'm not communicating effectively, or more so mirroring how the client wants us to communicate to them, and we talk about cadence again. There's clients that really need a lot of hand holding and a lot of reassurance, where, hey, it's a weekly update. This is what we're doing. We saw this insight here, this spend there, or there are some clients that just are a little bit more hands off, where you're communicating with them a little bit less. And, but I think you definitely hit the nail on the head, where you have to kind of be a people person, regardless if you're a Google Ads manager, or if you're just working in any type of service industry, where you're actually providing a service. You have to be able to communicate effectively, and really just set expectations, which is really difficult. So I definitely do understand that. Even though we are saying time, money, patience is how you're going to win on Google Ads, sometimes even for us, it's a reminder. It's a reminder that, right? Like, we could create a campaign where we've done all the research on Merchant Center, on Shopify. We've gone on GA4, downloaded all these analytics and spreadsheets, and then the first week it's a dud. The impressions are down, or the clicks are up, but the conversions are zero. What do you do at that point as a Google Ads manager? The worst thing that you could do within just the weekend is start messing with the bid strategies, messing with, the particular offering that you have, and changing it up. You have to give it time, and you have to be patient. And if you're looking at the client side of it with the budget, most of the time I like to explain to a client like this, where if you have a whole budget, let's not even look at it from a monthly perspective. What are you okay with? I don't like to say the word losing, but what are you okay with spending without getting that much of return, right? Within 3 months, we can divide that by 3 or divide that by 6, but the higher that month number is, the better it'll be for you if we could run it consistently. And it's up to me to work within that monthly budget.